Hello, everyone. And today we're going to be talking about Introduction to Leadership. This is another short course. Thank you for joining us today. So I really hope that you guys are enjoying the content that we're bringing to you. My name is Reginald Maddox, and I will be reviewing this course with you. As I mentioned, this is a short course. This is just to introduce you into the role of leadership. And I'm hoping that this course will provide you with some insights if you're a new leader or if you've been a leader for years now. You got experiences being in the role of leadership. We want this course to provide some insight to you that hopefully you gain a little bit of knowledge. We all understand that when you are in the role of leadership, it does have its challenges. Many people look at leadership as just a title. Once a lot of people get into the role of leadership, you'll be surprised how many people really feel like I wish I was just the average employee. So we're going to talk about some of that today, but we really want to give a little bit of a foundation for what it is to be a leader, what is required of a leader, and we're going to discuss some of the challenges of leadership. So for our topics, we're going to do a quick introduction. We're going to talk about what is leadership, expectations, leader versus the team, challenges of leadership, and then we're going to have our final thoughts and tips. Like I said, this is a short course, you guys, for introduction to leadership. We do offer a full course if you're interested. At the end of the presentation, I would definitely have that information down at the end of the presentation that you can reach out to us if you feel you would like to continue on with a more in-depth version of this training. So my name is Reginald Maddox. I'm the owner of Action to Services. We specialize in training. We really do engage in frontline training. That's where our training is really focused on. So we work with the frontline employees. This training is based on real life, realistic roles and responsibility in key roles from key communication, de-escalation, leadership. I have been in leadership for over 40 years. I've been a director, supervisor, manager. So I am tying my experience into this and I just want to share it with you. Our company really believes in being just transparent and honest, giving you the best advice so you can be and use the best practices to become a true leader. Okay. So with that being said, like I said, this is a short course. So guys, it's going to take probably about 30 minutes. Um, but I'm hoping it's going to be 30 minutes of information that you really do find useful in what you do. And please reach out to us, give us your feedback on what you think of these trainings. So first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What is leadership? Um, we define leadership as the ability to communicate and gain others' acceptance into one collective direction to implement a strategic plan to achieve a goal. Leadership is really something that's going to vary from individual to individual because there are different leadership styles. A lot of places will offer a leadership test to kind of help you kind of pinpoint what your leadership style is. But oftentimes we run into the situation to where people are just really not honest about their answers. So sometimes it's very difficult to find out what a person's true leadership style is. But to become a leader, you're going to have a variety of traits and skills that's required to be a leader because you're going to have to be multi-talented. You're going to have to deal with different aspects of leadership, different communication styles, different personalities. All these things come into play. But as the definition states, it's about getting everybody on the same page to where they are basically going after the same goal and the vision that you have set for whatever task or project you're trying to complete. A leader has to have the ability to bring everybody together to where everybody has one strategic plan that they're focused on in unity to kind of get everything going in the right direction. So leadership means you're gonna have to know how to motivate people, how to make people feel accepted, but also how to make people feel inspired to accomplish the vision that you have set forth for the department or for the company overall. in regards to the company mission. Now, here's where leadership starts to run into its first set of challenges: the expectations, the leader expectations versus the team expectations. As you can see here, we have the leader expectations in orange with the team expectations in blue. When we talk about the leadership is expecting certain things when it comes to being a leader. And one of the things that every leader expects is respect. And we've often heard it said, do you want people to respect your title or do you want people to respect you as a person? A good leader is able to gain that respect for both. Oftentimes, you'll find leaders who don't want to adjust their communication style, they don't want to adjust their leadership style. So people will show some respect to the title, but they lack that respect to the person, which prevents them from being able to really motivate their team members to go after the goals and go the extra mile to finish up the things that need to be taken care of within the organization. Leadership, man, let me tell you, when we talk about respect, you have to put your ego in check. And some people, when they get a title, their ego comes into play because now I'm a sergeant, I'm a manager, I'm a supervisor. So now I want you to respect me as such. But most team members will look at the work of the leader to determine if they're going to respect that person, how they interact with people, how they communicate. Do they deliver on their promises? Are they really looking out for the best interest of the team? Another thing that leaders are looking for is communication. Now, when leaders are looking for a communication, they want feedback on the projects, how things are going. Are you going to be late for work? Are you coming to work on time? If there's issues or concerns, are you bringing this to my attention? Are you following the chain of command? Are you skipping over me? So leaders want that frontline communication. They want to be communicated. Those supervisors and managers, they want that communication up front. Now, you say, well, leaders and teams pretty much want the same thing. Well, actually, they do want similar things, but they may have similar interests. But it doesn't mean that it's basically the same thing that they're looking for. I hope that made sense. But when we talk about the team in regards to respect, is how do you talk to me? How do you are you transparent when you're communicating to me? What's your tone? When you have to correct me, how do you go about doing it? When you're asking me something, are you doing it in a manner that's respectful? So team members want respect as a person. Respect me as a human. Talk to me as an adult. And it's the same thing when it comes to communication. Team members want clear, respectful, and timely communication. That's what they want. But the problem is sometimes the expectations that a leader have in regards to respect and communication and the expectation that a team member has regarding respect and communication doesn't exactly line up because maybe the leader wants that respect, but yet doesn't see that the team member is giving them that respect. A team member may want that, that clear and concise communication, but the manager is not giving them that clear and concise communication. So the team member is like, hey, if you're not going to communicate with me as a leader, then I'm not going to communicate with you. I will only answer and provide those details if you ask me, but you better ask me with respect. So you're getting into a tit for tat between the two. So it's very important that the expectations are clear between the leader and the team. What each leader is looking for. What are your expectations for those who are reporting to you? And the same thing, team members. What are your expectations from leadership? Because a lot of times leaders will ask, well, what are your expectations from the company? What are your expectations from me? Team members need to ask the same thing because it needs to go both ways. That has to be a clear understanding is what is the understanding of the expectation required by both sides. And this is going to sort of get a little challenging because as the leader, you now have to break that down because each team member is going to have a different expectation. But guaranteed, most of them are going to be similar. Now, this is not just a one time, oh, okay, well, you told me. This is something that you really implement into your strategic plan and into the workplace culture of how you interact and deal with each other. Establishing the expectation. What is your expectation and what do you define as respect as a leader? What is your expectation and what do you define as respect as a team member? Now, communication is one that goes a little bit more in depth as well. You have to keep in mind, communication styles vary. There are some people who communicate in a manner that's saying, hey, I need that box put over there on the right and take the box from the top shelf and just put it down on the floor next to the door. For some people, that's fine. But for other people, the challenge is, well, I like a little more conversation with my communication. I don't like just to receive directions, although the directions are clear, directions are concise, but I like a little more conversation. Why are we moving the box here? Why are we putting the box there? This is where you get that sort of communication, and where some people may feel like, well, this person doesn't respect me enough to really share information about why are we performing these tasks or doing these new projects. I'm just being told to perform this, to do this, but I'm not clearly understanding why. Whereas some leaders may say, listen, this is just something we need to get done. I can do all that later. You have to understand the personality of the people you're working with. Team members have to understand that sometimes leaders are in a production result mode, meaning that there are things that just need to get done. And sometimes you may have to just sort of bite the bullet a little bit and just perform the task. But if the task requires additional communication, this additional clarification, there's nothing wrong with asking. But it's just a matter of both sides understanding that there's an expectation that needs to be met on both sides, and you have to work together. But understanding the expectations is something that I think a lot of us miss when it comes to working relationships. That there are expectations that people are expecting from you, expectations that the consumer is expecting from you. How does all this tie in together? And how do you bring your expectations to the table without someone being offended? As leaders, we have to understand that just because someone tells us this is what I sort of expect from a leader, you may have to adapt your leadership style. If you're a leader that sort of has a commander style, not mean that you're bossy or, arrogant in how you go about things, but you're steak and potatoes. You're direct. This is it. You're going to have different people with different communication styles, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, when we're talking about people that just look at a situation and say, hey, I need more information. Some people need more friendliness. They need more sort of banter in the conversation when it comes to getting things done. So you have to understand the different personalities and communication styles of the people you're working with. Now, the challenges of leadership. You see at the bottom where it says, welcome to real leadership. As I said at the beginning, before we even got started, that a lot of people want to get into the role of leadership. A lot of people are looking at the money, they're looking at the title, they're thinking if I was leader, or I would change this, I would do this, I would make this happen, this would not be happening. A lot of people don't see that the leader, normally the supervisor and the manager, are sort of stuck in the middle because they see what's going on with the team members, yet they see what's going on with the administration and upper management, and they're trying to appease both sides, especially when team members have a different viewpoint of what should be taking place and how it should be done versus upper management. Because sometimes upper management will come up with ideas, let's just be honest. They will come up with ideas of things they want done, changes they want to take place. In their mind, they're thinking, hey, it looks good on paper, but frontline employees who are actually performing the task and duties, they already can tell this is not going to work and this is why. And sometimes that's a communication gap because decisions are made without involving the front line or the supervisors or managers. And now you end up with sometimes, team members who are a little bit resentment, they feel a little left out, they feel like their opinions and ideas are just being disregarded, and decisions are being made that are making their job harder rather than actually giving them the tools and resources to help them to be better. So that's one of the challenges of being in leadership. You're not going to be able to change everything you think you can change. There are budgetary constraints. There's policies, there are different departments that you have to work with to get things done. Sometimes facilities or maintenance have to get involved, IT has to get involved. So there are different things that plays a role in the challenges of leadership. The four things I have listed here are most common things that supervisors and managers deal with. Number one is the different personalities, because not only are you dealing with the different personalities of upper management, but the different personalities of your team members. Let's be honest, you got some good, hardworking employees who come to work, want to do their job, take pride in what they do. Then you have the employees who consider themselves to be the superheroes, but perform at a minimum level. And then you have the employees who really just come and want a paycheck. Then you got the employees who are late for work. When you say something, all of a sudden, they now want to go to HR. They feel like they're being picked on. They want to classify it as a toxic environment instead of acknowledging their own flaws. And the reason you're having this conversation is because you call out or you don't come to work or you don't complete tasks that have been assigned to you. So you got those different personalities and work ethics that really play a part in what a supervisor has to deal with. And we talked about this before, the communication styles. Some people need that extra when you're communicating with them. They need a little sense of humor, they need a little smile. Then you got some people who really don't like all the fluff. It's like, look, just tell me what need to get done and I'll get it done. And then you got some people whose communication style is just really based on how they're feeling that day. You really don't know what it is. They need a lot of information sometimes, and other times they just want the the gist of the situation. So there are different things that come into play when you're talking about communication styles. And as a leader, you have to adapt your communication style not only to the group when you're speaking to the group, but also to the individuals when you're speaking to them individually. Even when I'm, doing trainings for my crew, I still have to adapt my communication style. I have to consider, individuals who do require a little more information to fully understand what I'm trying to get them to accomplish. Then there are those I realize who are like, listen, I don't need all that extra. That's them, but I got to sit through this too. So you have to kind of figure out a way to navigate that and to get everybody still in board without some people timing out, without some people feeling offended. You know, there's just different things that comes into play to communication styles. Some people expect that if you're not, they feel like if you don't smile at them, then there's something wrong, that you have an attitude, you're upset, you know. It's just so much that comes into the way you communicate. And I'm talking about verbal and nonverbal when you're communicating with people. The next thing is workplace culture. There are so many occasions where an employee comes into the workplace and they come from a place that's structured. Now you're coming into an organization that really doesn't have structure, to where the Indians have sort of been running the ship. You know, the crew is, put it like this, the crew has been running the ship. So there's not enough leadership because leadership has sort of taken a back seat. And now you're in the situation to where You're sort of the problem maker, and there's a lot of lack of understanding from management. Why are you having these issues? And you're kind of like, well, we got people who are on the cell phone, people who are sleeping, people taking extended lunch breaks. They're not coming back. They're not finishing stuff. They're hanging out in other people's offices or riding around with people. They're not being productive while they're on the clock. But if that's the workplace culture, sometimes that can be very difficult to change if you don't have management that's going to back you up and realize that, hey, we need to change the culture of the workplace. A negative workplace culture can also run off good employees. It can make them leave. Although they can be the best suited person for the job and can really make a difference in that department, if they feel like the culture is just not welcoming, or the culture is just so toxic and negative, they're going to bail out. And for a supervisor to try to maintain that good employee, control those negative employees, that is draining and it's very tiring. But like I said, the bottom of this, welcome to real leadership. And as I kind of mentioned, the other thing is support. Support. One of the biggest challenges of leadership is getting upper management, administration to see that to make their overall vision for the company work, this is what we need to do. This is what has to take place. Even sometimes when it comes to, let's say, there's an employee that is just a bad apple. Like this employee is creating a negative vibe throughout the department. They're just creating conflict. They are disruption to the department. They're disruption to the production of the company. And honestly, it's time for this employee to move on. But when you work for a company that doesn't really like to let people go, or they feel like this employee has just been here so long and they're not accounting for the fact that their performance is poor, they're not contributing, and they are really bringing other employees down, then that just creates just a bigger, bigger headache. And it really is a struggle to try to get that employee back on board, especially if they just set in their ways because that's how they've done things. They feel like they can't be fired, nothing's gonna be done, there's no discipline gonna take place. The supervisor or manager can't get support from upper management. Other employees, team members are seeing their behavior and feel if they can get away with it, well, so can I. Why should I put the extra effort in when they don't have to? I feel like I'm being picked on and forced to carry the load when they're not doing anything. It's just a lot. And you get people not wanting to work together. So that can be a challenge within itself as well. But like I say, leadership is not easy, guys. It's really not. And like I said, this is just a short 30-minute training, but final thoughts and tips. I really would recommend take a leadership course, guys. Learn about different leadership styles. It doesn't hurt. Even if you've been in leadership for years, keep learning because people, the workplace environments are changing, the culture of society is changing. So you have to learn to be able to recognize these changes and how it's impacting the demographic and the workplace around you. Learn about different communication styles. Take time to learn. Learn about your communication style. What communication style you feel works best for you in the workplace. What's receptive and what's not. Okay. And practice listening and learning to others' perspectives and personality. A lot of times as leaders, we just want to just get this done. We think we can joke here and there, but you really do have to kind of practice listening and learning about other people's perspectives. How do they communicate their perspectives? Learning about their personality. What is their personality like in the morning, in the afternoon? When do they seem to be at their best? And study yourself. Study yourself. I think one thing I always tell people who are looking to get into leadership is really understand you. Understand what makes you tick. Understand what communication style for you works. What turns you off when people are talking to you? What's your listening time limit? How long can you listen to somebody before your mind starts to wander somewhere else? What's your tolerance levels? And as a leader, how would you communicate your vision? How would you motivate others? Study yourself to understand these things because this is all very crucial as a part of leadership. And it's essential for you to understand these aspects of leadership within yourself and to enhance your knowledge as a leader. All right, guys. So that was it for this introduction to leadership. Like I said, this was just a short course to give you something to think about. Hopefully, you will take time to find some trainings that can help you build your leadership skills. We do offer leadership training, so feel free to reach out to us. We're more than welcome to work with you and speak with you to figure out what we can do so to kind of help you out. So here's my information, phone number. You can email us. You can have our website to check us out. But definitely always look for finding leadership trainings that can really help you build that skill, to help you go up the ladder, and to really help you navigate the role of leadership and in dealing with different people. Hey guys, thank you. We're going to be uploading these once a week to share with everybody. So I hope you find this useful. Got any questions? Feel free to email me or submit any feedback you have about this video. And once again, thank you for tuning in. My name is Reggie Maddox with Action to Service. You guys have a great evening.